Hey guys, it's Serge again. Welcome back to StarMade. I'm quite tired. I've been working on this for quite a few hours. A lot of effort has been wasted without me stopping, taking a second, and actually thinking about what I'm doing. As you can see here, I was slowly and surely trying to work this out. I'm not very good at maths, and because of this, I've never been super great in logic or anything regarding coding, so it's taken a lot of time for me to get my head around this. What I have done here, though, is quite interesting. What my intentions are is this billboard on the side of the station, which would normally have the destination that this particular gate would go to. What it has at the moment, as you can see, isn't that. Because I took it out. No, because what I'm attempting to do here is I'm going to get all of these numbers, and I'm going to have them work off a sequence of sensors. Now the sensors' job is to simply work out what I've typed in to a single display, and then display that up on this board. And it's pretty simple in theory. Now, you might be thinking, why not just do a separate sensor for every single option of, say, -12, 23, so on? And the answer is simply, if I did that for every single one, oh, what did I do? Oh god, what was that? Oh, okay, don't worry about it. Okay, so if I did that for every single one, I have to make an individual one of these for absolutely every single one possibility of combination of 9 digits. Now, to answer that question, that's a billion combinations, because that is 9 digits. It's actually 2 billion combinations if you count all of the negative options as well. So that's 2 billion blocks 2 million times 6. So that is 12 billion blocks I need for that. Now again, I'm very bad at math, so that might be completely wrong. In which case, I'm sorry. Please correct me, because if I'm wrong and there's an easier way, I'd really like to know, because this has been absolute hair-pullingly painful. There's probably a tutorial out there that I've missed, but I've sort of had to work out how these work from a bench video and kind of worked it out from there. So after a few failed attempts, I finally got a working prototype. And I'm going to show you how it works in just a minute. But long story short, the easiest way I've managed to make this is by doing a sequence. And the sequence is going to be simply, you start by entering a command. That command tells, in this case, Loki, my fun little AI that I'm trying to birth here, to start entering in the information onto this. So by telling Loki that I want to enter in this information, he's going to start doing some stuff. So first and foremost, I'm just going to give you a little demonstration of how it works, and then I'll explain how it works. So I'm just going to reset the sequence just to give you an idea. So if you're in your station, you come up to your display, this is what you're going to see. Well, not initially. Let's say you've entered in a code. That code is simply telling Loki to change the display. That command allows you to access this screen. So once you get to this screen, he wants to know what the first digit's going to be. In this case, for the sake of argument, let's say the first digit is 2. So I put in the 2, he says okay, he goes to the next one. Now he wants to know what the second one is. So you'll notice over here, this is what I've just entered, x2. x1 equals 2. And this is important. This part here, this is very important to this whole sequence, or at least it will be overall. Right now I only need the 1 because I've only got it set up to the 1, but this is just to demonstrate what I'm trying to do. Each of these will be each digit. So if you're trying to make something like an alarm clock where you need, say, 4 for the different times, then you need to be ready to have 4 different blocks in here for your memory bank. And for each memory bank, you need to have the 11 digits required, which is 0 to 9, and 0, which is nil value, which is a blank, non-lit up space. Now you only need to do that for everything besides the single digit numbers, but for the sake of copy and paste, I'm going to do it for all of them. So you need to have 11 of these, because each of these will represent each number, 1 through to, 0 through to 9, and possibly 0. Now, this was the hard part. This is the part that I had to try and work out. So, long story short, it's easy enough to enter the information in. But if you want a motion display, I'm going to reset this again. So if you want this display to actually animate and be interactive, and if I want to put in 3 this time, it's x equals 3. Okay, next one. So if you wanted to do that, if you wanted to say, okay, next one, that's going to change this display, which means if you just have the sensors go straight to this, they're going to turn off, and so is your sign. That's not what you want. So you have to create another lot of senses, an entirely another lot of senses here, which allows you to, well, save the information that you put in into your memory, and this is your memory. Now, I don't know a lot about computer sciences or really anything, but I imagine that each of these is a bit of information. And each of these is allowing you to record just that bit. So what'll happen is, since I entered in x1 equals 3, that initiated x1 equals 3 over here because this one recognized what was going on, which hit this button, which activates this button here, which triggers this. That shouldn't be connected to that. So you don't have to connect those two. But that then activates this, which is connected down to my memory bank, which inputs the memory into the appropriate source. What? Well, it should be. Or was that? Oh yeah, it is. I don't know why I wasn't. Okay, so yeah, this is connected down to here because that button like that is like switching a rail over. If a monitor looks the same, or has it, if you have a button and you notice this button isn't connected to this monitor, is connected to this one. It's just like lining a rail up next to a button and then having that button connect to another rail to switch the direction of the rail. Now, that has pretty much just quickly activated, which is hit the button there and put the information into there for me, which is exactly what you want. Now the information is safe and sound in here, and it won't change until any of these trigger to change it again. So now that that's in there, over here you've got your new set of sequences, a new set of sensors. So now this sensor here is connected to this one. Now this sensor is going to recognize that it is x1 equals 3. And because this now says x1 equals 3, this triggers this sequence, and this button, or activation module, is connected behind here to a bunch of, now this is very important, these are all ORs. Now the ORs individually are connected to their own digit, or their own pixel, if you will. Now, what you do is you fix this all up. So behind here, you would individually select for each particular number, and that's pretty easy. You'd make sure that you draw it out the way you want, and when you've done you've connected everything up the way you want, then you go individually one by one, attach a light to it. Now, that's obviously quite tedious, but it's important to do, because without that, you're not gonna get, without the ORs and without the individual pixels, you can't connect, I'll just show you quickly, you cannot connect multiple activation buttons to a single light bulb. So now I've connected to both. If I go back here, this isn't connected anymore. You can only connect one at a time. So in order to have multiple lights be affected by different switches, you need to have something, and in order to do that, they cannot all be activations, because if there's just one activation that's of a different color, like a different type, you're going to have stuff go away. So I don't want that one active. Actually, I don't want to have that one connected. So all I want to do is I want to turn those three on. Now turn them off. I turn those two on, but I want to turn those ones on now, but I want to turn them off. As you can see, it starts to get all screwy, and it doesn't work the way you think it will. So what you've got to do is use those ORs, because the ORs will take any of those signals in, whichever the most recent active one was, I believe. And from there, you can do all sorts of various things. As you can see up here, I've just got a quick little sequence of changes on the display so that you can get onto the next one. And once you've entered that first one in, you can have a separate array altogether where you just have almost the exact same thing, but the next option would be x3 equals, and it would continue all the way down to z3, and you'd have all the options. Now what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to double it and have 22, or actually I think it'd be only 21. So I'd have 21 of these and 21 of these per digit. And that means that of all those 21, I'll have them all connected, all 9 times 21 connected to one memory bank here. So each 21 will be connected to one of these. And that means you would be able to have 9 digits, which in StarMade is your 9 possible positive, negative, X, Y, Z axes for your destinations in StarMade, so that when you finally get this all set up and going, you have Loki goes through his sequence, asks you what each value is, finishes with a nice little smile and says no worries, and asks you for your next command regarding the station. And that's it. That's at least what I'm going to try and do. And in theory, it works. And in practice now, it works. So fingers crossed I don't need to mess around with anything else. But this has gotten a bit out of hand. It's a bit longer video than I anticipated, but I really like my logic, and I really like working this stuff out. And now that I know what I'm doing, now that I'm not just firing blank and trying to get stuff working in here, I can just strip all this out, create a single working digit where each of these little monitors are easy accessible and adjustable and changeable. And by doing that, I can simply go ahead and copy and paste it 9 times. I don't have to do it all the individual times. I only have to do a copy and paste 9 times. Well, probably 18, because this is mirrored. So if I have a 1 digit here, I don't want the opposite side to also say 1. I want it to say 1 down the very end here. So that's where it's going to be a little bit harder to do, but I think we can manage it. It's going to take a little bit of work, and I don't want to be neglecting the server, because I do have lots of plans on there. I want to take out those scabs before they can spread too far. But yeah, no, this has been Surge, showing off some of my logic that I'm working on. And if you have any questions, if you have any advice too, I'd really appreciate it down in the comments below. Like, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you don't like, dislike, because that's an option. And yeah, this has been Surge, signing out.